Guys, interesting news. Interesting news. Pikmin 3 Deluxe has been rated for Nintendo Switch 2 in Europe. You know what this means? They might do a Nintendo Switch 2 version, maybe. And you know what that means? Maybe they'll let you use mouse mode for the game. Maybe. Perhaps. I'm making a couple leaps there and like what could happen, but I'm hoping. I am hoping. So it might be it might just be a like a free update kind of thing. I don't know. But we'll see. I really, really loved 4. 3 was good too because 3 let you RTS it a bit more, which was fun. In a way that 4 didn't have you doing. I don't know if it'll be like a full version. I think it might just be like an update. But it'll be nice because it's only... the base game is only 720p. So, I think it's just going to be like an update so you can at least play it at 1080. Which is what I want. I'll replay it if they do that. It'll be nice. It'll be nice. Yeah, they would upscale. Whenever they do the ports, they don't do a full Switch 2 version. They just do like the free update, quote unquote. If you play the Switch 1 version on your Switch 2, it will then display in 1080p and have like, you know, a little upscaling and stuff like that. It's usually nothing like crazy big, but it's really nice because playing TV mode, Pikmin 3 Deluxe, okay, on the Switch 1 at 720p with a big TV looks like shit. It just looks like shit. You like gotta play it handheld, you know, otherwise you see how low res it looks on the TV. It's kind of fucked up. So, we'll see. We'll see. What else has happened? Oh, you know, I didn't stream yesterday. I know I said I would. I needed a vocal break so badly. I was sick. Like, I've been a bit sick from, I think, Christmas time. You know, children get on you and are like, oh my god, my cousin love you so much. And then they cough in your fucking mouth, you know, shit like that. But yeah, all streams are not guaranteed ever, and they're not owed, so it's just whatever. If I don't feel good, I just won't do it. And I was like, oh, I'll probably just play a little bit anyway, just not stream it. But I didn't even do that. I was like, I need full vocal rest. I can't. It was bad. So I did that, which was nice. I wanted to record something that I didn't get to record, which sucks. Sucks so bad. What else? Sounds like you also need tea in that case. No, you need water. Tea's a diuretic. It's bad for you when you are sick. You need warm water. What else? There's no other news. I was watching Fruit yesterday. I was just, you know, on computer. Steam is open. I get the little notification that she sent me a game. She just sent me a game. Like, out of nowhere, Fruit was just like, you would like this, and sent me. What's it called? Distance. It's like a racing game, which she knows me very well. Anything that lets you go fast. I'm like, ooh. But yeah, she sent me a game. Which was funny because I had gotten art for her a while back and I was trying to find the right time to like post it. It kept being holidays and holidays, and I was like, I don't, when do I post this? So when she sent it, I was like, haha, and then sent her the art. So I'll post it on Twitter like today or tomorrow. Said, I started Lost Odyssey and cried 3 times at 3 Dreams. Also incredible intro. I wish they'd poured it. Right? The intro was the best! That was actually the first game that I ever played that had an intro cinematic that immediately, like, camera moves and you're in the gameplay, right? There's no, like, black screen. There's no cut to the gameplay. It literally goes from the cinematic into the gameplay seamlessly. It was the first time I'd seen a game do that. It was one of the earliest ones to, like, do that well. And that shit was euphoric, you know, when it was something you had never seen before. Even nowadays, they still don't do that much. But they like, never did that back then, you know? So, that shit was incredible. Absolutely incredible. So the hoodie goes hard. Oh, yeah. I love this fucking hoodie. Guys, please, 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 this collection is going to be limited and it will never come back. So I'll remind again. If you want anything from it, you have to pre-order like now. It will not come back once it's gone. It is pure pre-order only. We're not ordering stock. We will have no extra stock. It will only be make to order. So just be aware. Be aware. I was in shock when the gameplay started. Right? The cinematic, like, he like, Kaim comes in and stabs the dude and then just stands up and the camera turns to behind him and boom, gameplay. And you're like, ah! and that's the tutorial gameplay, right? You just play as him and you just start slashing and you're in the middle of like 1,000 troops. Oh, so good. So good. Can't wait to get the hoodie. Shame it'll probably show up by the time it's too warm for it. Yeah. I don't love doing pre-orders because it always, you know, you order it and then they have to manufacture after. But it is also safer in that we don't end up paying for extra stock. Because like if I do merch and I'm like, yeah, let's get 200 of these. We'll see what sells. And then we sell 100. Well, I've already bought the extra 100 that are sitting there, you know? So when it's something like this that we've never tried before, like a duo thing, and we're like, I have no idea how this is going to do. I don't even know how to estimate what we should get. Much safer to do pre-order on something like that. If it's just my stuff, I never want to do pre-order, but for group things like this, you know, much better idea to not try to do the guesswork when you just have no data that would give you an idea on that, right? So, yeah. So we did that pre-order just to be safe. I hate pre-order, but I don't think it's bad. You know what I mean? Like, when it's my own stuff, I always prefer not doing it. But times like this, it's much preferred, actually. Just in case. What else is new? I'm trying to think. Oh. In Mato's chat and in Fruit's chat yesterday as well. Multiple occasions I saw people going to their chats asking them, have you seen the VTuber Dracula flow yet? Now, I know we just talked about this. Insane that it's still happening. If you see anyone saying that, tell them to shut up. If you're in my chat, at least. If you're in someone else's chat, they might not like that. But in my chat, if you see anyone type that, tell them to shut the fuck up. Literally every chat. I'm gonna schedule a tweet. VTuber Dracula Flow is mid. Please stop begging me to watch it in my chat. I will... No. That's perfect. We don't need to add. I'm even gonna get rid of in my chat just because a VTuber Dracula Flow is mid. Stop begging me to watch it. And then I'm gonna schedule it because if you post immediately after posting something else, Twitter hates that. It's going up at 5:40 p.m. Wait, the schedule tool's all fucked up. I had to press a button. Okay, there we go. I tried to do it in 2026. Lamau. Okay. Scheduled. Done. Yeah, you said VTuber fans have like 2 videos, I swear to God. That's the thing, they do. It's not even that the video's that awful. Like, whoever made it, if they see that tweet, they're gonna be like really upset probably. But it's not about that. It's not about that. It's that it's not that good, it's not that bad. It's just middling, right? It's okay. But it is the only thing that we have. It's the only content about VTubers that isn't dramatic that anyone has made in like months. All of the content that people post is clips of the VTubers themselves. So whenever someone makes something that's like around them, it's super rare. And then even if it's like okay, because there's no other stuff, people get really excited and they start posting it everywhere, and that's why it becomes annoying. Right? It's just not even like, it just sucks. I think something that's important is it highlights how people expect us to make content, and we do, and then they repost clips of us, and that's great. No one makes content in a meta way, like about us or around us, except for drama farmers. You know what I mean? And there is something to be said that's good about that, in that, like, yeah, at least when you see content of us, it's like mostly just our content. If you avoid drama, then you just see what we want you to see, which is pretty nice. But it's also, you know, every other community has a lot more fan-made content around its creators. I think VTubing just has such a culture of clipping that the people that might normally make that stuff just clip. I think. We just have artists, which is great. We kind of traded the fan content creators for like the fan artists, you know what I mean? That's how it works in the facecam sphere as well. Yes and no. There's a bit more around certain communities. It depends, but yes and no. Depends on where, who you're talking about. You know? Or fan animations. Ooh, animations are like, again, it's just artists making stuff, but animations are so much work. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Yeah, Jed, I kind of don't care. Like, we don't need news channels. If that makes sense. Because the thing is, even if the creator themselves is just trying to report on what VTubers are doing, the people who watch that are 75%. I say 25% of them are there just for news. 75% are there to comment on something dramatic. Even if the creator is just talking, they're just like, this happened, this person did this. Even if they try to inject a lot of positive, the community that watches that stuff is yeah, drama frogs and stuff. So it's kind of, you know. That's why I even stray from that stuff. For me, it's not really so much about what the creator's intent is, but, you know, what ends up kind of coming out of it. Kiara, you can't type the M word. I saw you say it and then go, oh. It's a banned word here. No, not men. Why not? It's a specific word I've banned. It's nothing bad. Her live streams are definitely drama. Yeah, that's the thing, is like certain names I've only ever heard in the context of drama. They could be nice. They could be not nice. I don't know. I just stay away from certain names because it's literally the only thing I've ever heard about them is this person something something drama or blah blah blah, their community blah blah blah, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll just be over here. But yeah, that's why, like, if there's news, I'll talk about it if it's myself or like a close friend of mine, but most other stuff, unless it affects me or I'm tangentially related, I just stay away because it just, I don't know. Even when I've talked about situations that have actually involved me, which by the way was 2. just making that clear, only 2. Somehow there were then people that were like, why do you feel the need to comment on everything? And I was like, you mean 2 situations that I was actually in some way affected by? What do you But I got a lot of YouTube comments like that. And I was like, what? I don't comment on everything. But it shows you how much people's brains are skewed to look at that stuff and remember that stuff, you know what I mean? So I was like, wow, I really can't put anything out about this stuff unless it's like, unless I feel I have to. Because otherwise, like, yeah, they latch on like crazy, you know? Or like I would give updates on VShojo, right? Like it was a developing situation. It wasn't like a thing that happened. And then I could stop and just talk about it one time and I would encompass everything. Things were changing. I was getting new information constantly, right? So if it was relevant to you guys, I would update. Or people would have questions and I would clarify something because there would be a misunderstanding that I would see in the chat or something like that, right? And that definitely, it was mostly YouTube comments that had people being like, why do you keep talking about this? And I'm like, what? Sorry, do you want me to give no updates? Do you want me to give you a preliminary thing? And then even though the situation's changed a ton, never talk about it again? That's like perfect way to make people be continually misinformed, you know? It's radish, not apple. I'm eating radish. You know sakbakji? I made sakbakji yesterday. It's that one that's like huge chunks. I love radish. Ooh, it's my favorite, man. It's a little sweet. Fuck yeah! I love radish. Some people don't like radish flavor kind of alone. They only like it seasoned. But I really like just radish, so I make sakbakji and then I have it like in huge chunks, you know? Because I just like the radish flavor. So I do wonder why people go to the drama channels rather than just the actual people saying stuff. It's usually easy to find. A lot of people, when they're in a situation, they don't post their own content of it and they don't do it quick enough. But the people that report on stuff or want to farm the drama are... they act like paparazzi, where like the moment something happens, they scramble to make content about it so fast. So the moment other people hear that something's going on, they go to look and they're like, what happened? And that's the only thing available. And then those videos get all the early views, which pushes them in the algo, right? So even if stuff is wrong in there or it's a developing story, so it's so early to even say anything and they just report on whatever they've got. Yeah, it's the vulture effect, right? It just works. Yeah, it's the regular news is like that. The regular news is like that. You know, and if you're streaming, let's say something happens and you're addressing it on stream, literally while you're talking on stream, let's say you take an hour to talk about it, that first 30 minutes, someone will clip that and post it while you're still talking in that first hour about the thing, you know? And they're writing down everything you say and they're taking your time stamps and they're cutting the video as you're talking. It happens so quickly. There were times where something happened in all the P-Shoja stuff and something updated and someone would ask me a question and I'd be like, to my knowledge, this is yes or this is no. I would like just confirm or deny or say, oh, I don't know or whatever. And people would clip that and post it like within 10 minutes of me saying it. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm just answering a question in my own chat. And it's like, people would grab it and be like, I need this for my news video. So fast. So fast. And then they always talk about with the news voice, can you believe it? You know, and I'm like, oh my God. If they don't, someone else will beat them to it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I get why. I don't think there's anything, I want to make this clear though. I don't think there's anything wrong inherently with people reporting on stuff. Because, yeah, journalism is still important and it's curating stuff down for other people. It's just, as long as they're being truthful about it, they're showing what they do and do not know at the time, and they're not going through and sensationalizing parts that really should not, like, that are harmful to sensationalize. Some of it is just for entertainment. You know, what they choose to really harp on is whatever. But when they choose things or parts of something that are for the drama, even though that's not the meat of the situation, that's when it's very annoying, you know? So there are people that try. Doesn't get the views. I know. I know. That's why there's a lot of stuff that I spoke about, but a lot of things that I held back and waited to talk on here and there. And I just focused on only clarifying stuff. Like most of the time when something was brought up and I was talking about it again, it was because someone typed something in my chat that showed that they had the wrong understanding, right? And then outside of that, I didn't really do any new updates unless it was like about merch, and that was it, you know? Because I was just like, there's anything dramatic, or if I talk about my feelings, right, it's just gonna get farmed. It's just gonna get farmed, you know? So no thanks. My goat did everything in one stream, made a video, and then directed people to said video. Goat. Yeah, remember when I was like, hey, if anyone says anything that's not in here, I don't fucking know it. Done. I told my own editor, I was like, people are gonna farm this shit and try to post it before we do, so we're just gonna post it first. And that's it. And it fucking worked. It fucking worked. It was easy. Thank God. It helped me, like, not deal with a lot of that shit being as dramatic as it could have been. You know what I mean? It was good. Hi, Omi! Omi, I'm not changing shit this year. People keep asking. They keep being like, what's your resolution? Fucking nothing. I miss you, Omi. I miss you. Dude, RP sucks. I still play here and there. But, like, if you don't play every day, oh my God. Can't do shit. RP sucks so bad, man. You gotta get the group back together. You gotta get on Tyler again. I've only played CC that one time. And Uzi was like crying. He was crying. I was like, how can I make this the most annoying character in the world? And I tried to give it the worst laugh I could. Oh, dude. Oh my God! Oh my God! That shit was good, man. We've had that as a sound alert since it happened, homie. It's been here since the beginning. Since the day you said Octo Who. My moms were like, clip that. It's like their favorite sound alert too. If I close my eyes, I can still see you screaming. Sorry for farming you. If you would like $10, I will send you $10. The $10 I've made from the sound alert. Speaking of driving, guys, I do want to play distance though. I do want to do it. I want a racing setup for it, but I really don't want to put that shit in this room. I really don't want to. So I'll probably just play it with controller and, you know, deal with it or whatever. But I was watching Fruit play yesterday. The OST was insane. Because I'm not gonna lie, I was like racing in GTA. I was on a racing server and I was just racing for fun. And I was like, oh, I don't really have my own racing playlist. I'll just use Tony's, you know, because he has like 5 playlists and he's given me all of them. I pull up his playlist and I'm like, fuck, I've heard these a million times, because we'd sit there for like 500 hours grinding in a giant truck, fucking doing grime, listening to this stupid racing playlist. And I was like, I can't do this shit anymore. I can't. And then I like rage quit the playlist. So I really need racing games that have their own OST so I can hear anything new in my ears, because I can't do it, man. I can't do it. That's actually what I liked about Skate Story. The Skate Story OST was insane. And I'm not gonna lie, I listened to the OST without having any visual, without having the sounds of the skateboard, you know, that kind of stuff. And it was actually not as good. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't hit the same way. But then when you hear the sounds and you're going fast in the game and you have that OST, it comes together. It's insane. Because usually when a game has like a really good OST, you can listen to it on its own and it still has a lot of impact. But somehow the Skate Story OST, it depends on the song. It's a lot of different songs, but some of the songs fall so flat. So flat without skateboard sounds. Which is crazy, because I think that's actually a testament to how much the OST was like made for the game. You know what I mean? It's like good and bad. I wouldn't say the game carried. I think they melded together. Like when a Michelin chef makes a sauce of like 20 blended things and you're like, what the fuck is this? You can't even identify it, but that shit tastes good. It's that. You know what I mean? Like perfectly balanced. It was really good. But yeah, I played that OST just like, I think I was playing like Dome Keeper, you know, a game where you don't go fast. And I was like, man, this shit's not that great. But what I'm going to do next time is I'm going to drive somewhere. And when I drive, I'm going to put on that OST and see what happens. You know, I might floor it. I don't know. You ever play a song, you just start driving faster? It's dangerous. Don't do that. But I'm going to put on the Skate Story OST next time I drive, and I'm going to see what happens, okay? See about this. Bro, can you stop? You post this every day where you say like, what are you posting? And you do it the same. You do lowercase m, capital M, lowercase m, tilde. You do it literally the same every time. What is this? Answer for your crimes. What is that? We should kill the guy? Potentially. I'm giving him a chance to explain himself. I don't know. Isn't it the Buddha? No, definitely not. Definitely, it's not the Also, that's not Buddha. That's like Mason, if I'm being honest. I can stop? No. I'm not telling you you can or cannot. I want an explanation. What is that? What is that expressing? What am I supposed to understand when I read that message? That's the question. Is it MM? Flip it to WW? Wicked Witch. The mouse can't stop saying that. She goes, MM? Flip it? Wicked Witch. She just keeps... It's like her new stim, dude. But it's like a long stim, so I don't know, man.
Judge, you were doing 90 in school zone. Me, you honor I plead Freebird came on the rido.
Freebird makes you drive fast? No. Nah. We could do better. We could do so much better. Freebird. Isn't that an I'ma get you tarantula style? Such a terrible line. It's so bad, but it's so good. It's hard to stop saying it. I'ma get you tarantula style. Oh, God. I hear it in like Garrick's voice. I'm gonna get you tarantula style. You speedy or chill driver? Depends on where I am and what I'm doing, where I'm going. I go fast on the highway. But if I'm around town, I'll go grandma speed, you know? I'm chilling. Depends. It depends. Also depends what streets I'm on, because certain streets in the city, you have to go fast. You have to like cut into every little thing, even though it feels wrong. You just have to do it because people don't zipper merge like by choice. They force you to. Okay, when you drive in New York, when people merge, they take their spot. They don't give you your spot. You know what I mean? Are you drone striking the Gavel goat for... Oh, I just learned about that thing, dude. Alfie posted about it. Hold on. I'm learning about weird European traditions. Hold on. We'll go here. Sorry, I love just podcasting. Hold on. Let me find it. I'm gonna send somebody to kill that goat. Hold on. Okay. She posted a tweet on December 27th. This. Check that out. And I said, what the fuck is that? She was like, it just fell over. And I'm like, what is that? What is that? What does that mean? Yeah, what am I looking at? So she gave me a full rundown on what it's about from her European perspective. And I am now very down with this tradition. I'm very down with this tradition, okay? They try to get the goat to its destination. But there are also tons of people that try to kill it.
The 70s were a tough time for that goat, lol.
It's the Swedish Yule goat. Yeah, pagan tradition. So there's I think it's like Yevle. I think that's how it's pronounced, right? They want this thing to make it by Christmas. Okay, the goat has to make it. But there's always someone who comes by and tries to just set it on fire. Literally always somebody comes through and is like, I'm gonna burn it. And so now I'm very emotionally invested in every year I'm gonna try and figure out if this thing makes it. Yeah, deliver the payload. Yeah. So it's like this big goat made of various materials that are very flammable. Okay, and they're like slowly pushing it through and driving it through an area. And there are people that try so hard to burn it. So hard. I love this shit. Yeah, they do usually burn it down. They usually do it. But I look at this and I'm like, oh man. I'd be one of the people trying to burn it. I would not be one of the protectors. I'd be one of the burners. 100%. A helicopter tried to kidnap the goat in 2010. Yeah. No, people get insane. I was reading a lot of old stories about like what people do with this goat. And it's insane. People try to kidnap it constantly. Some people like want to deface it, but in like funny ways. And then there are people just trying to do the standard burn it down kind of thing. The one year the birds took it apart because it was full of seeds. Yeah. There's a lot, but I think this shit is really funny. I think it's really funny. Must be said that it's still illegal to burn the goat. Oh, yeah. No, it's fully illegal. 100% illegal. But that's what makes it great. That's what makes it excellent. Okay? The Yevla goat. I think, I'm gonna go see it. Wikipedia timeline of if it survives or not is a treat to read. Yeah. Should I show you? Hold on. Let me grab it. The Yule goat. Yeah, here's the 70s. So they do this every year. They have marked down whether it survived or not and how it died. Fire, smashed to pieces, collapsed, stolen, fire, collapsed, hit by a car, fire, presumed, kicked to pieces, fire / broken. And they have this timeline. In the 80s, it only survived twice. In the 90s, it survived 4 times, a 5th time with damage. Recent years, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, and 24, it survived. It actually did really well. But this year was blown over by a storm, which is what Alfie posted. It said, live stream started on 27th of November. The inauguration of the GOAT was on the 30th of November. On December 27th, the GOAT fell over due to strong winds. The GOAT and live stream were taken down on the 29th. Oh, man. Crazy. Crazy. But it seems like it's been surviving because they added a double fence, cameras, they have guards. They have 24-hour guards on site with a webcam feed now. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Related Wikipedia articles, by the way, gnome theft. Garden gnome liberation. France has a garden gnome liberation front that was formed in 97. And they want to release garden gnomes in their natural habitats, like forests. So, in the 90s, they took credit for the theft of hundreds of garden gnomes around France. But in 97, their ringleader was sent to prison and fined for stealing over 150 garden gnomes over a period of several years. I've heard of this before. I just find it really funny that this is like related articles. That shit's funny. There's also a big thing with baby Jesus theft, where they go to nativity scenes and steal baby Jesus. I don't like that, but you know, I'm a bit of a traditionalist when it comes to that shit. Don't steal the baby Jesus. Why steal the baby Jesus? I don't know if this one's symbolic. It's just people don't like religion or something. Actually, it's not even just religion. People deface literally everything. Anytime you do anything that gets attention, other people go, I want attention too. Or they go, I hate that that person got attention. I'm gonna ruin it. You know? Ugh. That's just how it goes. Hubris, insecurity, othering, etc. Yeah. Yep. That's the usual list, right? For stuff like this. Very typical. Huh. Said you always liked to arrange the reindeer in people's yards to look like they were getting it. No! Don't touch people's stuff. It's on site. Oh, people were popping inflatable decorations near you? Oh, I hate that. You're just destroying property. That's it. Like, it's not even funny. It's just property destruction. I don't know, man. I don't know. Not a fan. All I know is, if I did something like that, I would have gotten the belt. Instantly. Instantly. I would have been taken the fuck out. I would not have seen the light of day for 3 days. You know? But I think people who do things like that are used to no consequences in their lives, so they're gonna keep doing it. That's just how it is. A couple years ago, someone stole a jack-o'-lantern you placed on your soup. Who wants to steal a jack-o'-lantern, though? Like, what? Is it just to deface your property, or is it because they, like, want it? Because I don't want that. No thanks. Pumpkin smashers. Ugh, is that a thing? Buy your own pumpkin. They're so cheap at that time of year. You can get so many. I don't know. You stopped doing jack-o'-lanterns because people kept destroying them. Really? That's that common? What the fuck? That's insane. And people always say shit about New York City. They're always like, oh, it's so dangerous. Oh, people steal stuff. But I know a billion people who put like pumpkins on their stoops and everything, and no one takes shit. No one takes anything. It just... What's going on in the suburbs, man? What's going on in the suburbs? I don't know. That's crazy. I would set up cameras and fully litigate them just to be annoying. They would get shot if they do. What is your impression of the city? You know, it's like hard to own stuff like that. Like it's easy and difficult at the same time. Okay. All right, buddy. Once that kids put something on my lawn, it was a snake. Oh! Oh! I mean, hopefully they were just taking it out of the road and we're like, oh, nature, but ugh. Teens out in the suburbs bored as shit on Halloween night. I just how are you so bored that you like resort to property destruction? There's always something to do. There's always something to do, man. I don't know, man. You said for you it was never people, it was just squirrels destroying the pumpkins. Yeah. You ever have a pumpkin that you leave outside, jack-o'-lantern, or it's cut into for some reason, and then when it starts getting kind of like extra ripe, you look at it and you see all the little hand marks because the tiny squirrel hands have been digging into it. That's my favorite. I find it really cute. Thank you for the boots.
General, it's been some time.
Yeah.
I can't stand driving into Long Island in truck.
Ew, don't go there.
However, I have made it 1 year refraining from the Golden Corral.
Rejoice. Rejoice. Good. Fuck that. Very good. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's really cute when you see, or sometimes it was raccoons. Sometimes it was raccoon hands. You could tell by the size, but you'd see like the little claw marks. See 4 little streaks, you know, and then you see like differing sizes of them, and you could tell that okay, a squirrel did this, a raccoon did that. They love it. They love it. Delicious. I used to do that where I would buy a pumpkin, cut out the top, leave it out on a stoop, and just do it like that. I would just leave it out on the stoop and I would put a tarp down so that I could just like, you know, clean it very easily. And they would go onto the step, and I left a camera there 1 year so I could watch them, and I would just watch squirrels eating the pumpkin. I had like a live feed and I would just watch them eat. I'd be like, oh, they're here. And I just sit there and watch them like a fish tank. It was cute. It was cute. I like squirrels. You like seeing raccoons? I really like possums. I am very bothered by people that like hate them or think they're like an overgrown rat. Oh, they're terrible. They're actually so good for the environment. They're insanely good. They're great to have around. They keep like tick populations and other really bad insects down. They eat everything. And they're harmless. They are harmless. They don't even get rabies. They don't get most diseases. They're very resilient. Yeah, they eat a ton of pests. And like if you see one, it will freak out and it will freeze because that's its, you know, it's just response. It just naturally does that. So it'll freeze up, and you can just, now you should be careful, but they won't move. So you can just pick them up and move them. So if you ever have one that's like stuck in an area and you need it out of there, you can just pick it up. You should use a towel. You should use gloves. You should use, you know, maybe a shovel even. Sometimes you can like kind of scoop them up on a snow shovel. Just don't hurt them. Be very careful and just pick them up and move them. But because they can, it's not like they're frozen. They literally can't move. They can still kind of get you. So you should definitely do it with like PPE of some sort. But yeah. But they're good. They're good. Fun fact, possums cannot get rabies, only animal that can't. So can't isn't the word. They don't. I would say they don't get rabies, but it is possible. It's just incredibly unlikely. Like they never do because of various factors in their bodies, but it is not that they're so resilient that the rabies virus cannot live in them. They're just very, 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 very unlikely. Yeah. They can't live in there. Yeah, body temp mostly. Only concerns that they're bigger, not by much, than your dog. Yeah, though they won't do shit to a dog. They don't fight other animals to eat them. They don't do that. They're scavengers. So you're fine. Yeah, so many do end up as roadkill. It is sad. But they're nice. They're nice. You watch a content creator that puts up a camera on a bird feeder and talks about all the bird species, and there's always one fat squirrel that comes and eats all the seeds. I love watching people try to figure out how to like not have squirrels get up to their bird feeders. And my favorite thing is when they grease the pole. You ever see that? When they put the bird seed in the bird feeder and they put it out in the middle of a little field so they can't like get onto it, they can't jump to it. So it has to climb up the pole, and then they just grease it. They like oil it so that the, the squirrel will keep sliding down. There's quite a few people that have done that because it's like the only way. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. You could just watch compilations, absolute billions of them that are out there. Compilations of people just keeping their squirrels out of everything. I have seen the obstacle courses. I have. Oh yeah, remember Alma's bird feeder? She was like showing all the pictures of the squirrel. She was like, look at my bird feeder. And then within an hour, posts on Twitter again and was like, no! And there's a picture of a squirrel on it. That was so good. She was so upset. That shit was funny. She tried so hard. She was so excited. Thoughts on the feeders that spin them off? I feel bad and I don't like them. I think it's funny to look at, but I feel really, really, really bad that they get flung off, and I worry sometimes with how fast some of them spin, where I'm like, I don't know. Ever seen a red squirrel? I have, yeah. I've seen a lot of varieties just with all the areas I've been around, especially if you go hunting. You see so many squirrels and so many varieties that are so interesting. And I really like when they have the little tufted ears, right? They have that extra hair off the top. Oh, so good. I really like, there's the occasional black squirrel. And I used to have one, actually. Well, I say have one, but it was in a tree on the block, and I would feed it because I was like, oh my god, rare black squirrel. I want this one to, you know, procreate and be strong and have a family. You know? So I tried to keep him, you know, happy. He was cool. It was an albino squirrel that lived on LSU's campus for years. Really? Interesting. Black ones are common in some places. Yeah, in the city you don't see a lot of them, but you see some. You see some. They're not completely rare. There's a good number of them, but at least in the spot I was in, I wasn't used to seeing a lot of them. So I was like, oh my god. I gotta keep them alive. It was cool. I also, not in the same spot, in a different spot that I lived, I set up a little house for some pigeons. And I used to have a little, like, enclosure that they would use. It was on, I had a tiny, tiny, tiny chunk of, like, roof slash balcony. And I was like, what do I do with this? Because I'm not going to use this. You know, it was really small. Couldn't even really put seating out there. So I just built a structure that they could sleep in when it got really cold. So they would just hang out in there. They would just hang out. And they were very nice because pigeons are like, they're like no different from doves. You know, they're all kind of, they can procreate with each other actually. And they're basically all the same thing. They're very sweet. Very, very, very sweet. So, yeah. I just left him. What happened to Geegmas? I mean, it's still Geegsmas right now, but what do you want me to do about it? Put it in the title? Oh, thank you, Ender. Yeah, Fat Nuts is in retirement. I was talking to him about something. We have a potential project that we might do. I'll miss him too. I think streaming wasn't right for him, though. I don't think streaming is right for everybody. There's some people that stream, and I'm like, why? Just make YouTube videos, you know, depending on what they do. White Fred Happy. That's my favorite new emo. I don't know. He's one that it didn't make sense for him to stream, I felt. He liked it, but it was just like not it, you know? It just wasn't it. Hi, Baku. Yeah, he was good at it, but he didn't enjoy it enough to justify him doing it consistently. Yeah, and streaming is one of those things where, like, you have to do it consistently or not at all. Unless you're, like, a huge streamer that people are just waiting for you to come back. Like, there are exceptions. I know there are people that stream a couple times a month that people will show up, but that's because they're already established, you know? So if you're, like, not that huge of a streamer, you either have to lock in and stream all the time or, like, never. Just don't do it, you know? Which is kind of rough. So there are a lot of people that take time off of whatever their main content creation kind of is to do that. And I'm like, hey, maybe this isn't for you. You know?
Story was driving in the northwest one autumn, looked at the shoulder of the road, and there was this big moose sitting between his horn. On his head was this huge gray squirrel. The first thought in my head was moose and squirrel. Boris, see you.
Yeah, I've seen birds landing on deer quite a bit. The deer get a little spooked sometimes, but I love that shit. Bambi moment. You know? Bambi moment. Hi, Alfie. Chat is spamming Fred. I was just talking about Fred. Tried a few times. Consistency is the hardest part with the ADHD brain. Oh, streaming? Yeah. Actually, people with ADHD, I think, have a really rough time with streaming. So either if you can get yourself to be consistent, that's good. It's hard to get yourself there, though, depending on how your ADHD manifests. But then once you're there, I know a lot of people that streaming then becomes unhealthy. They can't stop. They just stream and stream and stream. And the only thing that gets them to stop is feeling insanely hungry or feeling so tired that they realize they're starting to fall asleep on stream. And they will every day pull super long hours. And or on top of that, some people, like, they might be good at looking at the timestamp every now and then, and when it hits a certain time being like, oh, maybe I'll end. But they'll end stream and then be like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. And they didn't realize they forgot to eat. And they didn't realize that they should have eaten 3 hours ago, you know, whatever it is. And that's a big problem with ADHD, is forgetting to eat is actually a big thing if they're, like, really absorbed in something. And that happens a lot too. So I don't know. It's just one of those rough things. I go to Garrick's chat and I just go, have you eaten yet? And he goes, oh shit, and then orders food. I do it all the time. I'm like, what did we eat today? And it'd be like, nothing. Nothing yet. Whoops. You know? It can be tough for people. But you guys hear me? I like snack. I eat on stream so much. So much. And I just order food on the side. I can't imagine. So if you take ADHD meds, eating becomes more important. Otherwise, you crash. Yeah. Exactly. So could you do streaming consistency, as in streaming X days of the week, every week, no matter what? Or does it have to be stream every day, no matter what? Oh, no. Don't do the everyday thing. No point. 4 or 5 times a week. Consistently. If you're growing. Great. I think you could even do 3. I just find that when someone shows up and they enjoy you for the first time, they enjoy your stream. If you want them to come back, you kind of have to be around within the next day or 2. Otherwise, they don't stick. So, yeah. But it's not, you don't have to go too crazy. I've pretty much always done 4 days a week. I think. Yeah, I've always done 4. Boardbo, thank you for the 5 gifted. Thank you so much. But I always did 4 days a week, and now I do extra, like, alt channel days, RP stuff. Maybe, if I do it. But I keep to 4. I don't feel the need to do more than that. I really don't. I think it's too much. It's too much on the voice. It's too much just hours-wise, you know? You said, please tell me she'd eat something, too. She's so skinty, too. She's so small. She's actually so small. She's not just short. She's just, like, all around. Like, small shoulders, small, just, like, tiny baby size. Tiny little baby. A wee bab. But I don't think she looks, like she's dying. So if she forgets to eat one day, she's not gonna, like, die, you know? She doesn't look like someone who's, like, gone off the edge, you know, or something like that. And she's doing better with it. But it's hard. It's hard when you have your conditions and, you know, you gotta find out your own way to do that shit, you know? You said streaming every day is low-key bad because people will just go, oh, I can miss this one because I can just catch them tomorrow. There's a scarcity buff. So, like, you know, there's some streamers who stream a lot less often. There's some people who stream 4 times a month or less, right? Those people get the scarcity buff. Because their stream is rare, it's scarce, it's higher value. Yeah, you gotta catch it. You gotta be there. And people will not watch someone else. They'll go to that stream specifically because they're like, I don't know when this person's gonna be back. So that actually works too. And there are some people that specifically don't stream long hours to do that. Which I don't think is a bad idea. I think, you know, it's just up to what you want. You definitely make less money. Like, people will subscribe, but fewer will subscribe overall because they are like, why sub if I'm only going to see you 4 times, you know? Stuff like that. Or sometimes you just don't get the ad revenue, you know, that kind of stuff. But if you make, like, YouTube videos and things like that, and you're a big enough streamer that people will show up, that the scarcity buff kind of works, then, you know, it's not a bad idea. There are some people that do 3 times a week for 3 hours and that's it. Right? So it's interesting. Sure, some people try to do that and just get more fall off than payoff. Yeah. Absolutely. It's also, you know, I think it kind of, I don't think there's a good meta of like, this always works, that always works, whatever. I think all that matters is the consistency isn't in the time. The consistency is in literally being consistent. So if you are a 3 times a week, 3 hours only streamer, you have to keep doing that. Right? Because if you start streaming every day, then those people who are used to not seeing you and used to showing up like it's a big deal, they'll go, oh, she's streaming so much more, I don't need to show up every day. Right? If you're someone who streams all the time and then you're like, I'm going to start streaming a little less, you've built up a base of people that like to watch often. And you're no longer going to be doing the thing that they like, right? Like, they probably like your consistency. So if you're like, oh yeah, let me stream way less, I'm going to go for the scarcity thing, then people are going to be like, what the fuck is this? And they're not going to watch. So I don't think any of it really matters as long as you find a thing that works and you consistently do that. You know what I mean? Other than that, do what makes sense for you, right? Do what makes sense for giving you a return on your time and that you enjoy doing. That's it. No other rules, in my opinion. I agree, Alfie. Would you say to those scared to hit the go live button? You're never going to make it. If you don't get over that, you're never going to make it. Put the fear in them. If you're so anxious that you can't hit go live, you have no chance. So you need to get over it. You need to get over it. And if you always feel that anxiety and you've been streaming for years, maybe this isn't the thing for you. Why are you making yourself, like, anxious? You know? So try it. see how you feel. For most people, it goes away. You do it for a bit and you push through and you just actually get over it, you know? I don't think it's too hard. It's just, you know, literally you have to make yourself do it. Otherwise, no chance. You know? Hi, Nostro. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Would you say, how do you feel about people trying out streaming as like immersion therapy for anxiety or a way to regain social skills, worthwhile or just unrealistic? Oh, I don't know. I think it depends on what their issue is. Immersion therapy is really good in general, like, or exposure therapy, especially, right? So for me with OCD, I would have certain things that I just like could not stop myself from doing, right? Certain compulsions. So my exposure therapy was telling somebody what those things were. This is the thing I fixate on, and then this is the resulting compulsion. And then they would be with me, and when I would start wanting to do the compulsion, I would verbalize it to them, and they would like physically stop me or redirect my mind or whatever. And it was like crazy exposure therapy. It worked so well. It worked so well because then you do the thing and you realize, oh, I'm like not dead after doing this thing. Cool. You know, not going to kill me. I'm less, you know, either afraid or worried or whatever negative emotion you have relating to it, right? So that shit works really well. I think for social anxiety, it's good because a lot of the stuff people imagine happening that they're anxious about is just like in reality never gonna happen. You know, like it's usually pretty delusional. So I think it's probably pretty good. The problem is if you start streaming to like get over that, the issue is that no one shows up when you're like a tiny streamer just starting out. So they'd have to build an audience first and then it gives them that. So it, you know, may or may not work. I don't know. They might give up before before it gets to that point. Yeah, I mean, not a bad idea though. I just think there's a little disconnect because there's no hit go live and there's a built-in audience of people watching and listening kind of thing, you know? So I never understood the fear if you're on OBS and looking at the go live button, not pressing it is like getting to the top of a slide and not going down it. Yeah, I never understood it either. I understand generally having some anxiety if, you know, you need to stream, but there's something like big going on that day. You have a debut, you hope it goes well, or, you know, it's some event or something. But if it's just going live in general, it's literally like the most chill thing ever. So what that tells me is they built up some expectations in their head of this being bigger than it is, you know? For sure. Which is usually what anxiety is, right? Like, you think about something and you build it up in a negative way in your head, and now, like, you can't get yourself to do it. Right? A lot of the time it's like that. I don't know. So probably better to have a streamer friend and join them a few times. Yeah, but if you have a streamer friend and you're a non-streamer and you're like, can I join you a few times? A lot of them will be like, what? No. Then you get into the territory of using your friend. So it really depends on how close you are. And I'm going to be totally honest, 100% honest here. I have a lot of different friends. And I love them all. Some of them are great to bring on stream. And if they ask me, can I go onto your stream? I'd be like, absolutely yes. Some of them are wet rags, not entertaining. I love spending time with them. But spending time with someone versus bring them on a stream to be entertaining are two different things. So I have some friends, they would ask, I'd be like, no. No, fuck no. My audience doesn't want to see you. I'll hang out with you though, because I love hanging out with you. And I'm very honest with them. And I don't think anyone's ever been like, I can't believe you said that. They're like, yep. Yep, I'm not interested. You know? So, you know, if you are like not used to streaming yet and you're very anxious, whatever, and then you're asking a friend to go on their stream to get not anxious, you're basically telling them like, hey, do you want a nervous, shaking chihuahua in the corner that you have to keep attending to who like can't talk well? while you have to stream, you know? Which is kind of asking a lot of somebody. Now, some people will care less because this is not their career, you know? So then it's totally fine. But if it's like how they make money, you've got to be careful. You know? It could work. I think a good streamer could make it work no matter what, though. The bit could literally be that you are nervous, right? But that takes a talented individual to do that and make that entertaining for more than like 10 minutes. You know? Get him a thunder shirt. Yeah, put him in the little thunder shirt for anti-anxiety. Oh, man. Yeah, he said, please, yo, just please jeopardize your main source of income. Do it for the one time. Oh, dude, I know. Whenever, like, a streamer makes a decision based off of, like, entertainment value, I always see people, like, get really weird about it. And they're like, oh my god, they're number chasing or whatever. And I'm like, who wouldn't want to not jeopardize their income? I get it if they're doing something and they're selling out and they're like, I'm going to get more viewers this way, so I'm going to do this crazy thing I would never do. I get that. But if it's like, I'm not going to make a decision that would have my shit crash and burn, and then people are like, I can't believe they don't want to crash and burn. That always confused me. I don't get why people type sometimes. I'm like, that's literally how they, like, probably pay for their rent and stuff, you know? Like, what's the problem? Why don't you play good games on stream like Dwarf Fortress? Play Dwarf Fortress for 10 hours. Game's so based. I don't get it, streamer. Stuff like that, you know? Play Dwarf Fortress now, King. That's just how it is, man. So say this wholeheartedly. I love my friends, but I wouldn't want to work with them. I was talking about it last stream, right? Monday. I will say that's something that I've noticed, like, my biggest realization in this industry and the way people are, specifically in the VTubing sphere, is that, no offense, this is just, like, my observation. So few of them actually know what work is. And of the ones who actually know what work is, so few of them actually want to work. There are a lot of them that think they know what work is, but they don't. And then they'll be like, I worked so hard on this. And I'm like, brother, you recorded for 20 minutes. You know what I mean? You recorded a thing for 20 minutes, and then you had a bunch of artists do all the work, and you didn't even organize your project. You had a manager do it. And then you're like, I worked so hard on this. And I'm like, stop acting. It's okay to be like, we worked hard on this, right? Like, props to the team or something. But people will actually tell you, they'll actively tell you that they are so busy, and then they don't do shit. And, you know, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt and say, with streamers especially, there's so much happening on the back end that you don't see. So they might be working harder than you think. But when you are their friend and you know them and you know what they're doing day to day because you're talking to them all day, and they're showing you their work and stuff, sometimes you get a perspective shift because you end up seeing how much they actually did not do. And then you see them call that hard work, and I'm like, holy fuck. So many of them actually don't know what work is, man. It's crazy. It's actually insane how little they do sometimes. But they're truthful. No, they're not. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they're not. A lot of them are not truthful. But I don't blame them for it because they don't, like I said, a lot of them don't know what hard work is. So they actually think they worked hard. You know what I mean? And I just go, okay. All right. All right. I don't know. It's a big realization. Past couple of years, especially, I've seen with people, and I'm like, damn, that's a lot. That's a lot. It's better to be friends with people than to work with them. Is definitely the thing I'm seeing. You know, my main observation. And I still like doing things with people, even if they don't love to work, as long as you don't set a crazy expectation. you know? Or if I try something with a friend and it falls through, I'm usually like, that's okay. At least we tried. Because sometimes with certain projects, people will lock in and others they won't, right? So I never mind trying, but it can be a lot. It can be a lot. So you worked with friends in club leadership back in college. You were far better as friends after that ended. Yeah. Working with people so different. So different. Or even if you're not working with them, if they're just... People will just tell them... they'll tell their audience that they worked so hard. And sometimes I've talked to them on the back end of what they've been doing. And I'm like, you didn't work hard. You were just very anxious. Just say that. Be like, this has been so much stress building up to this, and I'm glad it's over. But don't say I worked so hard, because that sentence isn't true, you know? You had a friend tell their chat how hard they prepped for a stream once. The time they said was prep time was spent drinking on my couch. Oh, no. Yeah. I've known people to legitimately like tell their chat, oh man, yeah, like they take a week off and then they have a debut and then they're like, oh my god, I worked so hard, but I know they went on a trip for that week, you know? And I'm like, what? Just be like, yeah, I refreshed, I've come back fresh for this, I'm very excited. Like, you don't, no one, it's not the work hard Olympics, you know? No one cares. And I'm just like, why do you say this stuff? Why? I don't know. I got no clue, man. I don't get it. It's interesting. He said, spent 10% of my energy working on a thing and the rest of it anxiously shaking my seat about whether or not it'll go well. Yeah. I think what they do is they take that time spent worrying about stuff and they lump it into all of that. I agree, Alfie. I agree. I don't know. I just put them in a job where they have to do physical labor and they'll shut right up. But the thing is, they've just never done that usually. Or, oh my god, the worst. When they go, I know what hard work is. I've worked in retail. Shut up. Oh my god. That's just difficult social situations, but shut up. You spend most of the day standing around, occasionally, you know, fixing some clothing on a shelf, doing some checkout. Some customers are mean, but most of them are very normal. It's like holiday season that's bad for a little bit. Oh my god. That shit is like... Ugh. Retail is not roofing in August. Right. And I'm not saying you have to work the hardest job ever to know what hard work is, but like... Have you ever done a job that should take 20 hours in 10 because your job, you know, would fire you if you didn't? Like... Have you ever done a project and when you finish the project you lay down on the floor because you can't do anything else? You cannot be brought to do anything else because your brain is so fried. You know, I'm just like, it's a lot. It doesn't have to be physical labor, you know, but it's just crazy, man. It's crazy. Not the floor, but the desk. Yeah, I've passed out at my desk. In my last job that I had, like right before streaming especially, that shit was a lot. It was a lot. And, you know, streaming I really just did as a COVID hobby because I took on fewer projects. But the amount of time I spent working and streaming, I used to spend just working. I used to have that many, like, contracts that I was on and stuff. You know, and I used to have... I really wore myself thin, like it's partially my fault too, but I used to wake up at like 7 and get on calls with people that are on the other side of the world because they were about to end their workday. And I would be on calls, do my meetings, whatever. Then I'd get into a meeting with some of my own people, whatever. And then I just sit there and just do rote work for hours and hours and hours and hours. And I'd do it until like 10 p.m. I would take a lunch break that was a little longer, like a full hour instead of like quick, just enough to eat. So I'd eat and then like watch an episode of something in the middle of the day. And that's how I would trick my brain into thinking that like I had rest time. And then I'd get back to work and I'd just work until it was time to eat again. And then I'd eat and then I'd work again. And then I'd be on calls super late at night again with people on the other side of the world usually. And then I'd sleep and then I'd wake up And I'd do it again. And I would do this 6 days a week. And I was like, I was going to sleep at like, I would sleep like 5 to 9 kind of thing. Maybe 4 to 9 if it was a good day. And if I ever finished early, I would have to do like chores and stuff. And I had 1 day a week to get everything done. So I'd go do any shopping that needed to be done, get any major chores done. That 1 extra hour that I had sometimes, if I didn't have like a super late call, I would be like, okay, it's time to vacuum at 4 a.m., you know, whatever I needed to do, you know. And then I would get up occasionally and spend like 10 minutes like playing with my cats or whatever until they want to go back to sleep because they're tired out. But yeah, it was that shit was like a lot. Yeah, degen laundry always. It was miserable, but I also really liked the work I was doing. And I liked that because of the amount of time I put in, because of the type of stuff I did. I got to do so many different roles, so many different things. You know what I mean? I got to do like all levels of the work, depending on what work I was doing. And I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed getting to see these things from different perspectives. Sometimes you're just like, you know, the peon, and sometimes you're like in charge of a thing. Sometimes you're somewhere in the middle. So I enjoyed that. And I was like, wow, this is going to be so good for my career. You know, I was just like doing that. But it was a lot. It was a lot. I didn't always do those hours. I started off with slightly more. They were still pretty high, but slightly more normal hours. But I just kept putting more in over time. I was like, you know, I have this free time. I could just pick up one more thing. You know, just one more thing. That takes me like 5 hours a week. I could pick up one more and I would just do that, you know? So it was a lot. It was a lot. And I did occasionally have chunks of time where I would finish my work and I'd have like an hour in the middle of the day. So depending on how quickly I got certain things done, you know, I could maybe free up some time. And that was where I played games, honestly. That was it. But there was a big chunk of a couple of years where I didn't really play that many games, I felt like. Because I didn't have the time. And then COVID hit, and I was like, wow, I can play video games. So I started streaming. Look at that. You know? Ooh. Yeah, you said the feeling when you have to work all Saturday and Sunday, because if you do not, 200 other people have to sit on their hands to wait for you to finish the job you should have completed. Yeah. That was the other thing, was a lot of the work was like that. Like, if I didn't do my part, I was holding people up. So there was no room to be changing my pacing very much, you know? Everything was just breakneck pace constantly. Like, do as much as you can and then pass it along. Because I'd also pick up a lot of work that was on tight schedules so that I would get paid more. You know? I would get them to pay me more, and I would get, you know, that rush fee sort of thing. And I would be like, fuck it, let's do it, lock in. And I would just go as crazy as I could to try and get it done. But, you know, like I said many times, I support other people, not just myself, other family members and stuff. So I was like, all right, I gotta get on the hustle, man. I gotta do it. Enjoy the restaurant business. If you miss something or need off, things move on. Yeah, certain industries or certain types of jobs is nice. That's why I always tell people when they, I get asked in chat a lot about like people wanting to work on contract basis or wanting to do this or that or whatever. I want to start my own business. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe you should just get a job under someone else so you can have that break time. You get PTO, you know, et cetera, et cetera. How many VTubers would survive in an IT environment? Oh, the IT environment's so vague. I don't know. I think some would do okay. Assuming they had the skill set that we're thinking about, like development or something. If they didn't, and it was just regular IT, most of them would fuck up because they can't read manuals. They can't read a manual. If you mean like actual IT, like IT department of a company, you know. Yeah, assuming they all magically had those skills, we're just talking about personality, I think a lot of them would sink. For sure. Because again, they'll put a debut together, but all they did was answer some questions about some merch and if this art looks good, yes or no. And have a manager put the thing together. And realistically, they put 4 hours of work into it, and then they'll be like, holy shit, I worked so hard. You know what I mean? So a lot of them are the types of people where they'd be sitting at a desk, and if they got called from other people on that floor constantly to come over to their computer and help them, they'd start to get pissed that people kept calling them. Like, that's, you know what I mean? They'd be like, I can't believe people call me all the time, even though I'm the one on the hotline, you know? They'd be like that, which is why I think they're very good in entertainment instead, where things are flexible, because everyone has to be on their schedule. They are the bottleneck, but everyone else has to be like, yes, queen, whatever hours you want to take is perfect, queen. You know? Much better environment for them. For sure. But I think a good number of them could lock in too. It just depends on the person. It depends. I'd hate to be on call for tech support constantly. Yeah, I say this, you know, knowing full well that a lot of people in the world are like that, you know? So this isn't like a jab just at a specific group of people. This is like the world. Most people sit on their ass at their job and do what they need to do. And then when they're asked to do anything extra, they get pissed, you know? Especially if they finish their work and they have extra time, they get asked to do anything, they're like, rah. That's just how it is. So, oh well. So I'm a semi-driver. I don't consider driving hard, but staying locked in for 6 hours of driving a day is a lot for some folk. Oh yeah, oh yeah. It depends on the person. Some people love that. They zone out, but not enough that they're not looking at the road. You know, they're calm. They like driving. They like to think. Other people could not do it. They'd be like looking for something to do all the time. It's a personality thing. I have a friend who does the same, and just drives trucks around and goes fucking everywhere, and he actually just loves his job. He listens to streamers. Right, he just listens to streamers, and he brings a laptop with him and plays games once he arrives at a place if he has a little time. And that's it. And he just really likes doing what he does. Some people don't, but he has a good time, you know. Hi, Base Trade. You do too, yeah. I like driving. I used to always do a lot of trips because I would go hunting, things like that, with like my dad especially. So we'd go and be doing our thing. We'd be driving, and I often would tell him, like, you just sleep, I'll drive, and I would just lock in and drive for 8 hours, you know, and go like wherever the fuck we were going. And I kind of liked it. I kind of liked the long drive. I don't know if I could do it every day though. Have you talked to your old coworkers on the push for AI in your old industry? The specific thing I was doing isn't suffering from that very much, no. So, not really an issue. They don't really think about it. I don't really hear them complaining about it. They just laugh at everyone else. They're like, ah, ha, ha, they have to deal with this thing. They have to deal with the ethical discussion and whatever. And they're just chilling. Jason! Hello, welcome. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. How many hours has it been since it was New Year for her? Happy New Year, everybody. I'm eating a radish. I'm eating pickled radish if you hear me chewing. It's delicious. It's sokpakji. But I hope stream was good. I hope stream was good. What was she doing today? Did she do like a New Year's party, or was she just generally streaming? Rice cakes, please. Oh, I was gonna get Songpyeon. I forgot. Another TL! Thank you for the 5 gifted. Thank you for the 5 gifted. Pickled radish. Oh man, unsubscribe. Ooh, no taste. No taste. I don't mean like 단무지. I don't mean like the yellow one. I mean like I'll get you a picture. I'll show you what I'm meaning. I'll show you the one. The shit delicious. Here. No, not the white one that comes with Korean fried chicken. That's just straight up radish. There's like not much in it. This one. Sokbakji. It's sometimes if you go to Korean barbecue, it's not the same dish, but they'll have one that's like cut into small strips. It's not too far from that, but it's not seasoned exactly the same. This is delicious. Actually looks good. It is good. It is good. Big radish chunks, which has a slight sweetness to it, and then it's like spicy. A bit savory. That's what I'm eating. If you're crunching, that's why. She celebrated the year and then played Ark. Oh, okay. Is she playing the new? Wasn't there was a new something? I think she said recently that she like just wanted to start, right? I remember her saying, was it on Twitter? Where did I see it? Kason said something about like wanting to start a new, some Ark related something. New DLC map. That must have been what it was. Yeah. You know, my secret. I have a list on Twitter of like my closest friends and some VShojo members from the past and everything. And I have that list on Twitter in its own little category. So I see most of their tweets. So when Kason posts like her cat, or she posts like, oh, I want to play Ark, I like see all of it. And sometimes I'll say something and a member from the group will be like, why did you know that? And I'll be like, you've been tweeting about it for 3 weeks. And they're like, what? Do you read all my tweets? And I go, yeah. I do, actually. I read all of them because they're in this list. Is this how you saw my goat tweet? Yeah, you're in that list. So I saw you talking about the goat. The Yule goat. Always watching. Always reading your tweets. It's not a tiny list of friends, so like there's some that I might miss here and there, but if someone keeps talking about something, I will see it. I will always see it. Ooh, if you end up in Swedish jail after burning down the goat, I'll be there, Queen. I got you. I'm thinking about it. Next year, I'm there, Alfie. I'm there. I'm gonna burn the goat down. It was a hard time. Yeah. It's so much worse, but there's a lot of stuff that I just am like, no point in mentioning any of the later stuff. I'm just glad that everyone at this point is out of the woods, having a good time, able to stream, able to do whatever they want. I was able to partner with whatever companies I wanted, you know, and like just really get my stuff back up and running as an indie, which was nice. Lion, thank you for the 5 gifted. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. But yeah, it's been good. Like, as soon as I was able to, I went and signed with like Gamersupps, for example, right? I'm working with Cheeky. I'm working with Power GPU. I don't have to give a portion of sponsorships that I do to a company. You know, like, I actually get to keep it. So it's good. Because I'm going to be honest, beforehand, it was like, it was tough because I would do a game sponsor and I would lose a big chunk of it to VShojo. And it didn't matter if they sourced it or I sourced it. I would have to give it to them no matter what, even if they did literally nothing. If I went to a company directly and I got the sponsor and I did 100% of the work for it, it's just the way the contract was, which I was okay with. I was totally okay with because when we talked about it, the expectation was that they were going to get me a lot of sponsorships. And I was like, oh, the math works out. And I told them, hey, you know, we'll try this for like a year or two. But if you don't really get me the volume that I need and the cut that I'm paying out, it ends up all being from stuff that I source myself, then I might, you know, renegotiate later. They were like, oh yeah, that's fair. And then they only got me four total sponsorships over my 2 years. And I was like, but I had done like 100 total. And I was like, brother, not 100, but you know what I mean? But I did so many that were all gotten not through them. And I was like, brother. So I'm just really glad that since exiting, I haven't had to like give up chunks of that stuff. You know what I mean? It's just all me, which is nice. Very nice. Very, very good. Would they have demanded a cut of Cheeky like they tried to do in Lillian Game or something? Yeah. They would have demanded a cut of literally anything new that I signed. That's how it would have worked. Yep. Which again, if they do their end of the deal, which is generating me a lot of that new stuff, then that's so fair. That's so normal. That's standard. That's how it should be. But it's give and take, right? They get me more stuff and I pay them a cut of everything that I get. If they get me a lot more stuff, then it does actually work out well. They just didn't get me stuff. You know what I mean? That's the problem, you see. So the idea is very standard in the industry, and most people do uphold their ends of those bargains, but, you know. But I don't have to deal with it now. Very nice. I get it. Everything that I do, I get it. So, you know. My job here is done, bat chest. Yeah. For sure. But yeah, it's been really nice the second half of the year. Still doing the same kind of number of sponsors that I always did. But I get to keep everything because I did the work, you know. So it's very nice. Very, very, very nice. And also I can get as many agents as I want, you know, realistically outside of the company. I could just have other people grab stuff for me easily if I want to. So it's like, if I don't even want to do that work, I don't have to either. But those are usually like more independent people, not like, you know, giant company, you owe us everything kind of companies. So it's nice. And hopefully that will let me catch up on anything lost. You know, we'll see. Speaking of sponsors, is there any possibility of doing a GEEGA chat episode with Charlie? I haven't thought about that, actually. I haven't asked him for anything. I'm a very big, I don't like asking other people for things kind of person. So I've never once, the thought has not crossed my mind, oh, I should ask Charlie to do this with me, or oh, I should ask him whatever. He's actually messaged me first every time, which is very nice of him. And just when shit was going down, he was like, hope you're good. Hope you're all right. And then I had like a debut coming up at some point. He was like, I hope the debut goes well. And I was like, oh, thank you. I should probably message first at some point. But I just have a hard time like feeling like I'm not bothering people. You know what I mean? But it could be nice. It could be nice. I just don't like to, I don't know. It feels intrusive. You know what I mean? Awkward since he's larger. Yeah, right? There's that dynamic where I'm like, when you know, like if I put him in my video, naturally I would gain a lot of views from it, which makes me feel like even if it's not my intent, just putting him in a video makes me feel like I'm doing that. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing that. So that's why I don't ask. Which is probably not that necessary to think about it so deeply. Ulterior, yeah, and it's like not even like it would be that I would have ulterior motives. It's just a scenario that no matter what I did, there would be a benefit to me. So it's hard for me to ask people to do things like that unless I have a benefit I can offer them at the same time, right? Otherwise, I feel like it's, when it feels one-sided, like one person benefits, I just don't even ask, you know? I just don't even do that. I could make it a cheeky ad and just talk to him about soap because I love skincare stuff, though. Something like that could be interesting. Because then it's promoting, you know, cheeky or something. But that's like, I would have to do something like that. Otherwise, I wouldn't feel I wouldn't feel right. You know what I mean? Did enjoy the episode he did with Mouse. Yeah, he absolutely did just kind of like go on her thing and was happy with it. So I know that if I asked, he'd just probably say yeah, and that's part of why I don't ask. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I know I could just be like, hello, be in my thing, and you go, okay, and then it would get viewed, and I just like, you know, it makes me not want to ask. It makes me not want to do it. Or like I want to, but I won't, you know what I mean? I just won't. Because it feels like a lot. So if it ever comes up naturally, maybe I'll ask, but other than that, I'm not going to reach out about it. You know? Yeah, I love the chase, right? That's a better way to put it. I just love the chase, guys. Surely. He's also a health nut. Oh, that's true. That's true. God, I'm just so good. I know I make all my shots. I'm just so cool. Yeah, it's true. Because I'm the GOAT. Which is why we're changing nothing going into 2026. You guys have any resolutions for yourselves? Do you have any resolutions? You said, yeah, he got in hella good shape over the past few years. You looking? Watch more GEEGA. Yes, be a worse person. What do you mean by worse? Because it could be better for you. What do you mean by that? IDK? Nope. Kick my ass. Stop being unemployed. You can do it. Never give up. Nothing besides try to be nicer to myself. That's a really good one because that takes a lot of mindfulness and effort, more than people think. Keep a workout routine. Keep writing. Make your own VTuber model. God rest your soul. I don't have that in me. Organize new apartment. I'll give one though. It's not a New Year's resolution. It's something that I've been working on slowly that I'm just gonna continue. Is making my space look nice. I like to do really slowly. So I moved into this new place like a bit over a year ago. And I still haven't hung everything on the walls that I wanted to hang up. I still haven't put every little rug in every little spot. Like all the major rooms of their rugs or whatever, you know. But like there are a lot of details that I haven't really done much with. Because I didn't want to go in and be like, I'm going to make this room feel complete. And then just try to complete it, right? I want it to be like a very, very slow process. That's what I've been doing. Slowly accumulating stuff. Or I'll be in a store and I'll see one thing that I really want. And I'm like, yo, this little elephant statue is kind of weird. I kind of want it. And when I think, where could I put it? There's so many places to put it because I don't have stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a lot of stuff. And it really makes me analyze, like, what I actually want functionally as well. So I've been really slowly doing that. And I'm going to keep doing that. What did I do? Last month, I put up another sound panel somewhere behind me so that it's, like, a bit to my right. So that, we reduce echo even more. Not that there's much. The air is pretty dead in this room, but I want it to be even more dampened. So now I have another one that I'm going to put behind my computer on this flat wall with nothing on it. I have literally nothing on this wall because I've been waiting for that. So I'm going to do that. I want to introduce plants. I don't have any plants in here. I didn't want to worry about any of them while I was still like getting the space situated. So that's something that I really fucking want to do. I don't know. It just feels a little dead without it. Not bad, but a little dead. You know what I mean? Hi, gym guy, bro. Are you 10? You said I quit smoking cigs 2 years ago after smoking a pack a week for 10 years. Ugh! That's impressive, actually. Said I picked up a vape last year, now suck that thing subconsciously. It's really hard, man. It's really hard. Just don't make it accessible to you as much as possible. I think vaping is more dangerous than smoking in how easy it is to like do more than you think you're doing. At least with a cigarette, you're aware it kind of smells like shit. You get used to it though. I actually like the smell. I like and hate it, you know, but you get used to it. But like you're aware as you're smoking, like, this is a bad thing. With vapes, it doesn't feel like that. You know, you've got your like fun little juice with your little scent. Nothing about it smells like negative, right? It actually smells good for a lot of people. And then it doesn't feel the same way a cigarette feels, and you can do it inside more easily, etc. The accessibility, I think, makes you not realize how much you're doing. And so a lot of people that vape start off like, you know, normally, and then they're going through so many within a week that they end up having so much in their system, and it's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, I would make it not accessible to you, because I think they're more dangerous because they're like delicious little sticks, you know. I personally actually hate the smell of most vape juice because I think it's so extra pungent, and I'm a person who doesn't like strong perfumes, things like that. So at least for me, I've never been tempted because it just, you know, smells like shit to me. Even if it's quote unquote nice. But yeah, it's just not good. It's not good. I'm tapering off nicotine amount. Yeah, I think that's the best thing is keep the habit, get rid of the nicotine part bit by bit. And then once it's not giving you anything positive and it's just a habit, that's easy to replace with a different habit. A good one actually is toothpicks. Okay, wait, I'm going to plug this. I'm not sponsored. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm not sponsored. Flavored toothpicks are a really, really, really good one. Natura Pine. I actually have a lot of these. You don't have to use this company. There's one called Natura Pine. Bricky gave me like a fuck ton of these to test out all of their little toothpicks. This is his company. Yeah. This is his company. These, if you have an oral fixation, right? You have some sort of habit like vaping or something where you're like biting down on a thing and it's hard to get rid of. Try flavored toothpicks because they are not harmful. There you go. There you go. That's something that might help. Because like if the problem is that it's just a habit and you just have to like be chewing on something or whatever, that helps a lot. Yeah, you can get nicotine ones as well. Yeah, you can get normal toothpicks too, but these being flavored helps stave the craving. I actually have them literally right here. Ready? That's my little tin of winter mint flavored toothpicks. I have them on my desk. Ready? Here's the tin. You can hear them. Ooh. Can I make wood sounds with it? It's me shaking them around in the tin. I'm doing my best here. I don't have an ASMR mic. But I keep them here. I don't use them super often. I don't really have any habits where I need this. But occasionally, I start picking my lips. I will peel all of my skin off like a freak. I will rip that shit off, the whole thing. So if I feel myself starting to do that, I've been really good at not doing it as much. But if I start feeling myself starting to do it and I really can't stop myself, toothpick. Toothpick immediately. And when I have that, it just gets me to stop. It just gets me to stop. Then it bleeds and hurts. Yeah, here's the thing. I love the flavor. I love when it bleeds. That's the problem. That is the problem with me. I'm like, and I will like try to get more blood out of it, which is not good. Very not good. I like eating rare steak. Iron flavor, you know? So it's really bad, which is why I go for the flavored toothpick. That's why I go for flavored toothpicks when I start feeling the urge to like pick at my lips. I'm like, no. No. I have to stop myself. But I love it. I love it. You said getting some and using code GEEGA. I do not have a code with these toothpicks. I'm not sponsored. I'm just shilling my friend's thing because genuinely, he gave me a few tins of them. And he was like, oh, try out some of our newer flavors. And I did, and I started using them. I was like, what am I going to do with all of these? And I said, you know what? I'm going to start using them to kind of stave myself off when I'm sitting here and like picking at my lips. And it works really well. It works so well. Oh, you said you peel the dead skin off your lips with your teeth when they get dry. Ooh, yeah. I know the feeling. Ooh, I know the feeling. Yep. I try so hard to not. I'm one of those people, I'll pick everything. If I sunburn, it's pretty hard for me to sunburn, but if I did, I have to get really burnt for that. And it starts peeling. Oh my god, I rip it all off. I rip it all off too soon, too, you know? Yeah, when you get the carapace. It's so bad. This is why I got really into skincare. Is because it all started when I had eczema when I was really young. And I got really used to, you know, having a damn shell, having a carapace on my body. And I developed picking habits and things due to that. And then it was really bad. And then I got into like excessive hand washing and like I would crack and bleed from being dried out from hand washing and stuff like that, you know? So then to kind of replace that with something else, I got super into skincare. And soap usage and washing things a certain way and at a certain frequency and blah, blah, blah. And putting these products on after you wash this thing. I use this for legs. I use that for arms, you know, like that kind of stuff. And that has helped me so much, replacing bad habits with good ones. Hand washing? Yeah. This is why I legitimately like love having a soap sponsor so much, because this is a thing that I've thought way too much about. Way too much about. And their shit's good, man. Their shit is good. You suffer from hand washing, especially in winter? Yeah, I used to overdo it so much, man. I used to like, so the thing is, for me, it wasn't about germs. It wasn't about any of that. It was about the oils on my skin and the idea that when your skin naturally produces oils and then you touch something, you are transferring oil and a little bit of your dead skin cells, you know, whatever, to that thing. Yeah, you ever like touch your own phone and you leave the little fingerprint? It's your own skin oils. It's natural. But I couldn't handle that. I couldn't handle that when I was younger. So I would hand wash and I would do it excessively. And I would really hate if other people put their hand on me, if anyone put their hand, on my arm, anything, I would think about that. And I would, now that's like a hot spot wherever they touch. If they touch my arm briefly, now I'm like, oh my God, oils from them are right there. And I'd have to go wash it. So I'd go to the bathroom and wash my whole arm if I had to. If someone touched my shoulder, I'd go wash my shoulder. You know, I would do it every time. Because I could not. So it wasn't like a germophobia thing. So I didn't get into certain, like some people would use certain like alcohol-based things for like disinfecting. It wasn't that, but I would dry myself out a lot from the excessive washing for sure. So it was bad. Now it's not nearly as bad. I don't do that almost at all, but is this an OCD thing? Yeah. It was, for me, it was a full-on issue related to that. Because it was irrational, because a big part of OCD is when you do your compulsion, you're staving off some sort of worry relating to that obsession, right? So I'm obsessing over the skin oils or whatever. And when you obsess about it, you start to think delusional shit, or you start to have anxiety or worries relating to things to it that make no sense. They're illogical. So you start to have a compulsion that is often also illogical, right? But it gets rid of the anxiety at least. So you feel like you've really done something, and it's because your brain chemistry is a little messed up, which is something people don't understand. They think like they have a habit and they're like, oh my God, I'm so OCD. But OCD is there's something actually wrong in your brain with your cycles of like dopamine. And when you get dopamine hits, like if you do something, if you think to yourself, I'm going to pick up this cup, and then you go pick it up, you get the tiniest hit of dopamine because you completed the task, right? That's how your brain just works. It gets like this satisfaction when you do the thing you thought you were going to do or wanted to do, right? OCD, that process is messed up. So sometimes you'll do something, you'll think, oh, I should do this, and then you do it, but you don't get the dopamine hit, which makes you feel like something's wrong. It feels not complete. and you're like, I physically did it, but something doesn't feel right, you know? And it's just off. So then to make it feel right, this is why people like turn their stove off 10 times or like hit the light switch 20 times, stuff like that. They have to do it and count to 20. So they add like another process on and they're like, okay, now I really did it, right? So logically, they're like, I really did that, even if they're not getting the dopamine hit. You know what I mean? So then that issue with your dopamine cycles can compound into like a billion other issues that are way more than just having to flick a light switch on and off. But yeah. So you often develop a habit that's like really not logical. Like, doesn't make sense, but it makes you feel better because you don't get the little burst of dopamine, you know? There's just a big part of that. So not sure how neurotic it is, but when I get home from work, I have to wash my hands first thing or my hands feel dirty, even if it's nothing. Does that track? Not with OCD. That's just normal habit. That's the thing is, like, what I'm describing too is something that happens to all normal people a bit. It's just with OCD, it happens all the time, and you're very likely to develop new weird compulsions because your brain doesn't function right. Like, it just straight up doesn't a lot of the time with that kind of stuff. So, I would say they usually don't diagnose you with OCD unless you are literally spending an hour of your day, every day, doing these compulsions to soothe some issue that you've got, some obsession that you're obsessing over. Like, it has to be, like, the severity is a big part of it, because what OCD is, a lot of people do to a tiny, tiny degree, because that's just normal human habit forming and, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, I mean, like, those neuroses are there in everybody. But yeah, when the severity is to that degree, then they're like, okay, maybe something's really wrong with this process, instead of it just happening to the normal degree it does, and then they start checking you out and stuff, you know? It has to actively interfere with your life. Yeah, it has to actively interfere with your life, and it has to be to a point where, like, you cannot stop it alone. You know? Like, it is, like, so hard to stop it alone without guidance that it's like, disgusting. You know? It has to be bad. You've walked in a circle for an hour before? Yeah, I have, when it was bad, I don't really do this stuff anymore because I've gone through so much to not be like that. But there were times where I would stand in a room, look at a wall, and be thinking, be in my own head, be totally, like, visually just not even seeing where I am, just be daydreaming, and just thinking through all these scenarios, and then willing them away or doing some sort of compulsion. It was all mental, like 90% of my stuff. And I would stand in the same spot in a room for literally an hour, not moving, because I was thinking so hard. Because a lot of my stuff would be just a thought would come up, and then I'd have to try and push the thought away, but I couldn't push the thought away unless I did this in my head, or I thought about this thing, or blah, blah, blah. And then that would just turn into, like, time wasted, you know? Yeah, it was mostly puro for me, yeah. And it's hard because then you don't see the physical, like, you don't do a compulsion with your body necessarily, right? So people don't, like, even notice what you're doing. They just see you standing there and you're like, oh, I was just thinking, haha, you know? You're like, oops, haha, right? So that's why it's a little harder to, like, figure out that you have it. If it's kind of all in your head, it's not really, like, physical stuff that you do. Took me a while. Took me a while to figure out that that's what it was, you know? Wait, so I'm OCD? No, please don't. No. No. Not unless a doctor tells you do. Because you could also just have a vivid imagination and be lazy and just standing there, you know? Which is why it took me so long to get diagnosed. Because to me, I really felt like I was just, like, sitting there daydreaming. And it wasn't until I sat there and talked to someone about what I was actually thinking about and what I was doing that I was like, oh shit, I am in an obsessive compulsive cycle that I cannot break out of, and that's why I'm hard stuck standing there just thinking, you know? So, it was interesting. Or actually, I would do that and I would play a game at the same time, which is another reason why I didn't realize. I would be playing a game that I could play on autopilot, like a racing game, let's say, or like speedrunning something. And I'd be sitting there thinking, and I'd be doing these, like, compulsions in my head. But because I'd be playing a game, I wouldn't see the problem with it, you know? Like, it just was not so visible to me that this was actually an issue taking up so much time. Because I'm like, oh, but I'm gaming. Oh, I'm just zoning out, you know? So, yeah, it was not good. Man, mind blanking. That's what I thought I was doing, yeah. That's what I thought it was, but then, there were a couple other habits that I had that I thought were, like, really weird. And I was talking to a professional, and I was like, I think this is something. What is this? And we started, like, just talking about my life, and they're like, I think you do this in other places, just but you don't have any compulsions, you say. And I was like, yeah, this is, like, the only thing I do. These, like, 2 things. And I listed out a bunch of compulsions I had when I was younger, but I didn't do anymore. And I was like, so I don't really think that's a big deal. And then they were like, okay, but you're so hard focused on this one thing that you do. Surely there's got to be something else. So we sat there and we just talked for so many hours and figured out that I was actually just, like, while I was playing games, I would have no idea what I was doing. Visually, I'd be, like, not even there, you know? I would just be, like, in my head and just, like, ruminating on some shit, you know? So, very interesting. Someone get OCD later in life? I believe you can develop it, but you're usually predisposed, or you've already got something going on with your brain that's not exactly right. Whether or not you're developing those habits, you know, is a factor. So it might be something that you don't really do until you're older. Maybe. But for me, it was worse when I was younger, and it's gotten better over time. But only because I worked on it, not because it naturally got better. That's not a thing. That's not a thing at all. You had a tick you thought was OCD, but later learned it was just a bad habit. Yeah. Because, like, habit forming is natural for humans. So you can't just have a bunch of habits and then be like, oh my God, I have OCD. Because it doesn't mean that anything's wrong with your brain. It's actually, like, probably everything is right with your brain, because that's what the brain does. It forms habits. You know what I mean? But if shit's messed up with your brain chemistry when it happens, then, you know. There's a common comorbidity with ADHD. It does. I'm one of the ones that doesn't have ADHD, which is weird. Weird, because a lot of people have both. But I think it made it easier for me to treat myself a little bit, you know? Misuse of drugs can mess with your reward receptors and hormones long term, from what I understand. Absolutely can. Yeah. Absolutely can. I think that was also one of the things that I didn't want to do, is I didn't want to be, like, highly medicated for it or anything. So I was like, can we work on this as much as possible with standard therapy and not medicate, because I really don't want to. You know, and we took a lot of time, but it worked out pretty well. So I never had to, like, you know, go on any crazy stuff. LCD have terms like high functioning. It's just a severity level. Mild, moderate, severe kind of thing. And then mostly you're categorized by what you obsess over. Like, there are subtypes. So there's so many, there's hundreds, but whatever the thing is that you keep thinking about or you keep obsessing over, oftentimes you'll have, like, similarities between those. So they'll kind of sort you into a group or groups based off of the different subtypes that you're expressing, and then that helps them, you know, treat you, which is good. Does OCD ever interfere with your gaming? Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't bring it up, though. If I'm on stream and I'm doing something and it is like I'm having a compulsion, I will never verbalize it, because that does not help me get through it. It makes it more, like, real to me, if that makes sense. It makes me more likely to do it more. So, but absolutely there are times I'll make, like, a weird decision and it's just my brain telling me I have to, you know? Hi, Boone. Is doom cycling unwanted thoughts depending on actions? There's a ton. Yeah, there's like a bajillion. A bajillion. Absolutely. There's also a lot of it that people won't talk about because it's very morbid and they don't like talking about it, but there's a lot of taboo related stuff. Like, they'll think a really bad thought, which, again, the human brain does, but they'll be unable to will it away. They'll have to like do a ritual in their head to get rid of it, right? They'll have to think about a certain thing or picture something specific or whatever it is, or sometimes they have to talk to themselves, almost like a prayer. There's some people that it forms into a weird religious thing where they keep getting like negative thoughts, and if they were raised religious, some people mistake that and think like, oh my god, it's the devil tempting me, and then they have to pray him away, and now they pray for 3 hours a day because every time they get a negative thought, it goes crazy, and then they like feel the compulsion, you know, stuff like that. So there's a lot that it can manifest as, for sure. But that's the kind of stuff when it's just all in your head, you know, like it's hard for other people to realize that that's OCD. Can I mention the stress of the ritual doesn't help remove the intrusive thought? Well, yeah, right. You're replacing it with something. You have a bad thought, like here's one that really affects some people that have OCD that are parents. They'll think about how easy it is for their kid to get hurt, because when everyone who's babysat a kid knows with little kids, you're just keeping them from dying all the time, right? They everything that they try to do is something that could like end their life, and they're so dangerous. You know, when they have no sense of danger and they haven't learned these things. There's the classic, like, they're just trying to stick stuff in outlets, and you know what I mean? So parents with OCD, depending on the type that they have, sometimes they will get really worried because they think about, you know, oh, my kid could do this, my kid could do that. Sometimes they start to visualize it, because your brain does that. When something bad could happen, your brain has you kind of visualize this thing so that you can feel ready and prepared should it happen, right? This is a soothing comfort thing that your brain does to help you feel prepared. But if you have OCD, there's a chance that could turn into something bad. Like now you just keep visualizing bad things happening to your child. And then what happens in someone's brain sometimes, not like it works this way for everyone, but some people might then think, why am I having this thought? Am I a bad person? Am I seeing this in my head because I want to? And now they're questioning themselves, and now they're spiraling, and now they're anxious and stressed, and they're like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Because their brain is just a little off. When you have OCD, there's some stuff that's a little off with the dopamine, right? So then that turns into, I need to do something to reassure myself that I would never, right? I would never. So then it turns into like, you know, any ritual, any compulsion from there. But that's like how this stuff forms. And that's when it's really morbid. So a lot of parents, if they go to therapy, if they even do, would never talk about that because they're worried that talking about it is going to make someone think that they like want to harm their child, because they have that self-doubt in themselves too, right? Because they don't know yet that they have OCD. They don't know yet that it's that and not that they actually want to harm their child, right? But there's a lot of people that won't talk about like the more morbid stuff because they're worried that it will make them look crazy. When really you should trust that a professional would be like, hey, I know you don't mean this. Your brain's doing the thing. Let's talk about it and figure it out. But you know, when you yourself don't know what you have, people just don't talk about that stuff. So there's a lot of people that actually have OCD that are undiagnosed simply because it's taboo thoughts that come to mind, and that's the thing that like they obsess over, and they don't want to tell anyone. You know, they don't want to tell anyone that they're thinking about this stuff, right? This makes me wonder if such parents become germophobic and hypochondriacs through that process. I think so. Yeah. OCD is not super common that like a fuck ton of people have it, but it's not uncommon. So whenever there is like a parent that clearly is like crazy over the kid's health or something, I always wonder like, what if it's something like that? You know? Could be something like that. I had a grandparent who definitely had OCD. And he was the one that was extremely frugal. He was so frugal to the point of like denying his children a lot of things that they should have had, but he really was just so worried that the money could poof away at any point that he'd do really extreme stuff with having everyone do without and all that. And you know, it can really like affect things negatively. Obviously his intent was good, no one blamed him for it, but like it affected how he parented, right? So I think a lot of parents that do crazy stuff, it's good to not always be like, oh, they're a terrible person. It's good to think maybe there's something going on, right? Like maybe something's going on in their brain that's making them, like you said, yeah, like rationalize it, right? Like maybe this makes sense for me to do, etc., etc. So it's good to think about. It's good to think about. Oh, I was replying. Someone just said, something about a sponsorship. I typed okay, but I typed it in live pings. I saw something in the chat, sorry. I'm going to send it to this person. Okay. We've got a cool sponsor coming up soon. So I'm just making sure that I reply. Okay. Yeah, Booney, so people with OCD will always rationalize things even if it doesn't make sense. That's the thing, is like when they diagnose you, they do your level of delusion, right? That's one of the things that they check you for. They check a lot of different levels. Lucky, what are you doing up here? And one of them is how delusional you are. Because some people are pretty self-aware and they're easier to treat when they're like, hey, I know logically this makes no sense, but I can't help myself from doing this. It feels right. Or they're like aware they're trying to rationalize it, you know? Those people are easier to treat, which is kind of what like my sort of thing was. But then there's some people that are like, their delusion level is so high and they're so hard to treat because you have to convince them that there's something wrong with them first. You know what I mean? Which no one wants to think. Oh, you're one of those people who goes to Iron Mouse's channel to type in chat to be a hater because you're like probably 14. Well, you know, chat, we're going to get a lot of those chatters because school's out. So, you know, don't worry about it. This happens every winter and every summer vacation. Also spring break, it happens too. All the kids are out. You know, classic. But we're used to it, so whatever. But anyway, yeah, if you're getting tested for OCD, they check your delusion level. They don't call it that. They don't call it that. But it is your delusion level. And that tells them if they're like able to treat you more or not. So if you're like able to look at yourself with a logical eye and kind of look at yourself in the third person, take a step back and just be like, okay, I'm doing this thing because it makes me feel more grounded, but I know it doesn't actually change anything. I know it doesn't actually do anything. Right? Like if you can do that, then you're way easier to treat for OCD. Like way, way easier. If you can't, if you're like rationalizing it and you're like, but it feels right, therefore it is right, you know, then that shit's hard. That's just tough. Looking at the childhood obsession helps. Yeah, a lot of mine were with like evenness and stuff, or like I would walk into, if I walked into a new room or a new type of flooring. Ken, thank you for the sub. Welcome on in. If I was, let's say I was walking on wood floor, and you pass over the threshold into a new room, and now this room has carpet, I would have to use my left foot. I would have to use my left foot to start walking on that new flooring, because number one, I had to. I just had to. It was left. But also because I always started with my left foot to begin with whenever I walked anywhere. So it would be an even number of steps. You know? So I would always complete my even number of steps on the old flooring and then step with my left foot onto the new one. Because everything had to be like in even numbers for my footsteps. I don't know. It just like felt even and felt right. Some sort of coping or soothing thing. I don't know why I had that, but I did. You had OCD? Have you been here the whole time? Have you heard the whole conversation? I had to though, dude. But yeah, a lot of weird stuff like that. So a lot of mine were based around like evenness, you know? Ren. Run the Rock. Thank you for the 5 billion more billion gifted subs during this Geegsmas season. During this beautiful 12 days of Geegsmas. Thank you. If you got gifted a sub, say thank you. Don't be ungrateful. Don't be ungrateful. I said you used to do that. Everything had to be even. Yeah, that's a common one. I think that's a common one. Wanting stuff to be even, or like, oh, here's one that a lot of people do. That's just a normal habit. Doesn't mean you have OCD, but you know, a lot of people do this. If you tense a muscle on one side of your body, you might tense the other one on the other side to like feel even. You ever tense up your arm and then be like, oh shit, and you go tense up the other side? It's this evenness feeling. There's something like really soothing about that for people, for humans. So that's a habit that a lot of people have. And it doesn't mean that they can't not do it. It's just they tend to do that. But if you have OCD, imagine now you have to do it like 15 times exactly on both sides. And then when you hit 15, if you don't feel a certain way, now you do it again. Right? Right? Like you start to go crazy over it. Next thing you know, you're sitting there for 10 minutes just tensing up your arms. Right? So that's why a lot of OCD diagnosis is just about severity. Like it's a lot of very normal, like human things that people do, but then they just like, you know, go crazy. I do that with my ass streaks. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. That's what it's all about. As a side note, my food is like almost here, so I have to go grab my food. And then I want to play a game. I think we will start with the one that Fruit gifted me. What was it called? Distance. I think we'll start with that. As a side note, I really want to play Sword of the Sea. I wish-listed it a while back and then forgot about it, but it's like one of those games, kind of like Journey, just about like nice visuals and movement. It's the one where you're like surfing on a sword. It looks cool, so I want to do that. But yeah, we'll play Distance because Fruit just gave it to me, like just cause. I think she just played it and was like, GEEGA likes cars, and then gifted me the game. So we'll do that. And then we'll see how long I play that. Maybe I play it forever. Maybe I don't. Then we'll see about maybe Neo 2 or continuing Easy Delivery Co. And then around 8 p.m., it's 4:38 right now. Around 8 p.m. my time. I just asked in our Discord, I was like, does anyone want to do shit for New Year's Eve? And several of them said, yeah. I said, okay, cool. I said this at 2 a.m. like last night. I said, what do you guys want to play? I'm down for literally anything. Crickets. No one's seen it yet. So guaranteed people are gonna be like, what are we doing? So I'm probably gonna have to think of stuff and have it on deck for suggestions. Time for Peak again. I would love to play new stuff, but like, there's nothing wrong with Peak, you know what I mean? But I want to set a challenge. Maybe we'll race. Just to make it more interesting, you know? All right, I'm gonna go grab my food. I will be right back. Fireworks sim? We could. We've done it so many times, though. I think the game itself is boring, but if we're just there to talk, then that's fine. All right, I will be back. Grab my food.
Hey, GEEGA, congratulations, by the way, on being the newest long, long man.
I'm back. I'm back. Thank you for the bits. Got my food. Every time I put my IEMs in, so it's got like a foam bit that goes in the ear that you have to like squish down and then put it in your ear. And then it like just expands out slightly to like be in there. And if you don't do it like that, if you just shove them in, they will fall out. Like they push out. So I have to do it, but I always feel like I'm like racing against the clock, right? And like
Oh my gosh, so many pregnant Megan.
I feel like I like squish it down and then I just go like, you know, and, like they do get dirty, but I have like I got a little system to keep replacing them and washing them, cycling them. But yeah, if you don't, they get gross. They get gross. Hold on. Set up my food. I have real food now instead of just eating radish. That was just to keep me at bay while I got my real food. I would be happy eating just radish, but that's not like... It's not a lot of calories. And the whole point is I need calories. It's the whole point of eating real food. It's nutrition. Switch back to rubber tips after foam. Yeah, for these IEMs, I find the rubber tips, they just come out of my ears a lot. I have really small ears. Very small. So even the small ones, like when you replace the size, they still just like, just straight up come out of my ears. I'll put them in, they'll be okay, and then they'll just like fall out. So I kind of have to go with foam so that I can do the squish them down thing. Otherwise, like they will not stay, which is annoying. But I don't want to use non-in-ears. I don't want to have anything over my ear anymore. I really just don't want to. So I'll make and do. Ever tried the custom fit ones? I'm probably gonna do them at some point. Probably will. Where's my controller? Oh. But they're expensive. So I was like, I'm just gonna get used to regular IEMs and see how I feel. But already I do like them a lot more than wearing full headphones. And your ear will start to hurt like hell after an hour or so. Yeah, I would get headaches. I get pressure headaches just a little bit from having a headset on top of my head for a long time. And I would just slug it out, man. I would just slug it out. So I don't want to do that. Have you tried bone conducting headphones? I really don't like them for streaming. When you're talking constantly, which is already sending sound through your bones, you know what I mean? And then you also have the bone conducting ones. I feel like you talking muddles all of the sound that you're hearing really poorly. So it doesn't really work for streaming. I like them for non-streaming. Like if you just have them like for running or hanging out, you know, I think they're good for that, but not for stream, which is really all I care about, because I have all sorts of stuff for not streaming. You know what I actually like? I feel like this is a product for chuds, but I really like it. Logitech has those G-Fit earphones. I got them sent to me at one point. And I was like, fuck it, I'll try it. I think they look stupid, you know? I think they look really dumb. I tried them out. I really like them. I really like them. I actually love them. So I'm like, damn, I might just get a Bluetooth dongle and try using these for streaming. Because the battery life isn't bad. Why am I not moving? Ugh, there we go. Battery life ain't bad, so we'll see. I might do it. But I'd be really like, I'd be using them constantly. I don't know how long they last. Like, do they die? Do they die after a bit? I don't know. But I'll try it out. I mean, they were sent to me. It was like a friend that was just like, oh, I got an extra one of these from PR package. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. All right. I kind of love those. So, we'll see. Anyway, let me open this game. Fruit played this for how many hours yesterday? I was watching her all day. I was watching her the whole damn day. Oh, I gotta turn my BGM off. Pause BGM. Okay. I'll go to my corner. I go here.